We are getting a lot of new information tonight into the alleged plot to kidnap Michigan Governor Gretchen Whitmer. 6 of the 7 men facing terrorism charges have now been arraigned. 2 of those men, Michael and William Null, are West Michigan brothers. Reporter Mike Krefsick is outside their home with their connection to the alleged plot.
State and federal agents had raided Null's home here on 9 Mile Road. And neighbors say it's strange because fencing just went up around the home about a week ago, and they're not sure why. We do know the FBI had been watching the Null brothers and the other suspects for months. Michael Null, who lives in Plainwell, and his twin brother William are among the 13 men charged in connection with an alleged militia-orchestrated plot to kidnap Governor Whitmer and put her on trial for treason. The FBI says the Null brothers and 5 of the other suspects belong to a militia group, Wolverine Watchmen. Detectives say the group has been planning and training for various acts of violence, including kidnapping politicians and storming the Michigan Capitol. Court documents show the FBI says the members of the militia have made threats of violence to instigate a civil war. Investigators tell us militia leadership met at a June rally at the state capitol where armed protesters rallied against Governor Whitmer's COVID-19 restrictions. Barry County Sheriff says he met William Null at a rally in Grand Rapids protesting the stay-at-home order. Neighbors tell me the brothers typically kept to themselves and were quiet. They say they're shocked by the allegations.
I really figured he was a nice guy. I mean, I talked to him and I had a good conversation with him.
As we continue to follow this case, we are also looking at detailed information tonight on other militia groups operating in Michigan. In Michigan Now anchor Stephanie Parkinson joins me live from her home. And Stephanie, a pretty dramatic statement too came from the governor today about militias.
Yeah, so Dave, I think we can all imagine, right, it's been a very difficult week for Governor Gretchen Whitmer. Several times in the last 24 hours, we've seen her get very emotional as she talks about this alleged plot to not only kidnap her, but potentially harm her. Today, she took to Twitter with this very bold statement about militias. Governor Whitmer tweeted, "They're not militias, they're domestic terrorists endangering and intimidating their fellow Americans. Words matter." Well, I dug into how many militia groups there are in Michigan. According to the Southern Poverty Law Center, in 2019, there were 181 nationwide, and 9 of those were operational in Michigan, including 2 based right in Genesee County. Not mentioned in the list, though, is the Wolverine Watchmen. That's the group the FBI says planned to carry out this kidnapping of Governor Whitmer. I spoke with an expert at U of M today who also worked in counterterrorism for the government at one time. I asked him, so should we be afraid of anyone who identifies as being in a militia?
And just because someone self-identifies or joins, quote unquote, a militia group or a patriot group doesn't mean that they're on the wrong side of even the law. It doesn't mean that they're engaged in terrorist activity. I think the distinction that Governor Whitmer was trying to make is, at least with respect to the Wolverine Watchmen, that they went way over the line.
The Southern Poverty Law Center also shows that the last peak of anti-government groups was back in 2012, when it was about double the number they're tracking for 2019. But Ali, who you just heard from there, tells me that those numbers aren't painting a true picture in his opinion, because a lot of these patriot groups or militia groups, they're grassroots, he says. So he says they're often forming quickly, but then also disbanding quickly, making it very difficult for groups to track them.